What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another NBA Journalist YouTube channel video. Finally, it's been 3 weeks. I'm sorry. I'm a loser. I have to work a job. I'm sorry. But today, if you haven't been paying attention to the NBA world, the lottery happened. It was kind of a big event. Because as you know, this draft is pretty stacked. Some guys dropped out, but it's pretty stacked. And so I thought, no better time. Strike while the iron's hot. Let's do a little lottery mock draft. It's pretty straightforward, but I think there's some good little, some good things that could happen here and there. We're gonna make it interesting here, is what I'm trying to tell you. We're gonna make it interesting. So if you don't know the order, the Wizards got the number 1 pick, Jazz at 2, Grizzlies at 3. Chicago Bulls jumped up, I think, 5 spots to take the 4th pick. Clippers take the 5th pick from the Pacers. Nets at 6, Kings at 7, Hawks at 8, Mavericks at 9, Bucks at 10. Then it goes Warriors at 11, OKC at 12. Thank God they didn't jump. Heat at 13, and then to round it out, the Hornets stay at 14. So pretty much was like your standard. I felt like it wasn't like what we saw last year where Cooper Flag jumped up and then the Spurs also jump up and then, we get this completely muddled order. Wasn't that? It was pretty standard. Wizards finally get the first overall pick. Finally, after being shocking for so many years, finally get the first overall pick. This is what I mean. If you follow me on TikTok, NBA Journalist on TikTok, I was telling people that the only really way to fix tanking is to reward tanking, because when you reward tanking, it incentivizes a team not to tank. You see what I mean? Teams that are tanking have a talent deficit. How do you acquire talent through the draft? You have to tank and get a high pick. You get a high pick, you have talent, you don't need to tank. It's the natural cycle of the NBA. This new proposal is going to go through the whole lottery reform, and it's obvious because owners want more money, more bums and seats. It's fine, whatever, but it is the only way to really fix tanking, is to reward it, and also understand that tanking is a natural cycle of the NBA. You have to be bad in order to be good. It's just how it is, especially if you're not a free agent destination. Anyways, I'm talking. Let's get to picking picks. Number 1 here. I want to actually talk about this. We've got 14 picks, it's not the whole thing, so we can take our time a bit. I know I talk a lot. We can take our time a bit. If I'm the Jazz here, I'm calling Washington's phone so fast, to try and either see where their head's at, if they're going to take it, AJ DeBanza. From the first video I ever posted was a mock draft, and there was so much discussion on who was the first overall pick, and I think now it's pretty obvious that it's going to be AJ DeBanza. It's like, just even having the conversation that the Jazz should trade up to get AJ DeBanza makes it seem to me in my brain that teams think he's the best player in this draft. I disagree. I think Darren Peterson is better, but the NBA teams who do this professionally think better than I do, so we should probably listen to them. But if I'm the Jazz, I want this first overall pick. This might be the first time we see it traded. I want it. I've got, a BYU star, which is in Utah for people who don't know, who probably wants to play in Utah still. I think he also went to high school in Utah. And BYU's, funded by Danny Ainge and funded by the owner of the Utah Jazz. Might be semi-tampering, who knows, but I think they want to bring the guy who's lived his whole life in Utah to be the star of this Utah team, this Jazz team going forward. So I would throw the kitchen sink at them, because especially with how the Jazz are kind of constructed, they're ready to go. Dante George has been amazing. Larry Markkinen, Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., Kessler, you're ready to go. Bryce Sensabaugh off the bench. With the first overall pick, pretty much an easy pick here. Again, like I've said multiple times, you could take anyone here if you want. You could take any of the first 4, and you know what? I could probably make a case for it. But it's AJ DeBanza. He's clearly, the best kind of, if you want to do it in 2K terms, the best build. 6'9", 205, I think 210, something like that. Averaged 26 points per game. Pretty much by himself at BYU. Defensive concerns, I don't think are real. I don't see, I heard someone say, I don't know who said it, but I don't see someone who's 6'9", 205, whatever the weight is, being a liability defensively on an NBA court. You can kind of get away with it in a way, especially with his wingspan. You know, he can get away with that. At worst, this is at worst, he can get away with it. And I think he is also, you know, offensively, he's still super raw. Outside shots still developing. He's just like the prototypical guy you'd want to, like a do-it-all forward type of thing. And, you know, the mid-range shot and his field goal percentage show that he's just ready to explode at the next level. He's just a star, you know what I mean? Like these top 3 guys are stars, like superstars essentially, ready to go. You know, he has elite footwork already, you know, scores everything mid-range, which means eventually he'll be, I know I said it before, but eventually be able to step it out. And yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any more to say. So with the second pick here, I think it's pretty obvious. We're not going to talk about it and think about it too much. I think they go Darren Peterson. He fits perfectly next to Keontae George. He's got size. I think he's a true 6'5", 6'6", so a perfect height for a 2 guard, a lead guard too as well. And I think he kind of slots perfectly into the starting lineup. You go Keontae, you go Darren Peterson. Whichever way you want to do it, they can both play the 1 and 2, whichever way. Then you can go Lowry, Triple J, Kessler, and call it a day. That is a big starting lineup, first of all. I think it's, 6'4", Keontae George, 6'5", 6'6", Darren Peterson, 7 foot, 6'10", 7 foot. And they're ready to go next season. And then you can run lineups as Darren Peterson as the lead guard, with a Bryce Sensabaugh as his backcourt partner, which is also a very big backcourt. You could go Isaiah Collier at the 1, and, you know, who will find Darren Peterson in good spots. And, you know, even if they don't get their guy, you know, Darren Peterson as a kind of consolation, whatever, is probably the best consolation you'd ever receive in your life. So, now on to pick number 3, Memphis Grizzlies. I think it's pretty, I know there's a lot of talk with Caleb Wilson, we'll talk with Cam Boozer, who they're going to pick. For me, it's obvious. They've kind of shown with their picks that they're very analytically driven. This is a new age of basketball analytics too. And who's probably the best analytical player in this draft? It's Cameron Boozer. So again, just such a unique winner player. I know that makes no grammatical sense, but just does it all. Just like a word I think I've used multiple times is supercomputer. Just a supercomputer offense. He's just strong, physical, can shoot, and playmake. His playmake's improved so much over the season. And, you know, a Zach Edey, Cameron Boozer front court is going to swallow offensive rebounds for fun. You're not getting a rebound on that. And I think he listed in at like 6'8.5" barefoot, so he's probably 6 foot, probably approaching 6'10", and he's still, I think it says he's 19. He's still 19, so he still has room to grow. And I think his wingspan was like 7 foot plus, which is center level like measurements. So that front court is going to be disgusting, and I can't wait. So at pick 4 here, Caleb Wilson. We're not even gonna talk about it. The Bulls want to get size, they want to get length, they want to get athleticism. They've got Leonard Miller, they've got Noah Senga, who's apparently grown to 7 foot. They've got Miles Buzelis, who's their kind of guy. Then you add Caleb Wilson to that, who's probably the literal definition of size, length, and athleticism, and motor. That is the most perfect situation here. You know, to jump to 4 to get a Caleb Wilson who fits basically your draft ideology. I mean, there's nothing really to talk about with Caleb Wilson. Bulls fans are gonna love him. Wow, they're gonna fall in love with him. He's amazing, just pure energy, motor, athleticism, and then just on defense, that Bulls defense, depending on who the coach is, obviously, can be the sky's the ceiling. The ceiling is the roof, you know. He's switchable elite, blocks everything, jumps at everything. He's huge too. I think he's going to be like probably a true 7-footer at power forward, and he's got a developing jump shot. What's not to love? So the kind of biggest story about this lottery, is the 5th pick, or the Pacers pick landing at 5, which means it goes to the Clippers. And this is an interesting situation because I think how I'm going to frame this is that I'm going to tell you guys who I'm going to pick straight away and then explain my reason why. This is going to be higher for a lot of people, but I want to get fun with it. It's going to be way higher for a lot. Like, people are going to have to pick this person way lower, is what I'm saying. But we're going to go, and you'll see who I'm pointing at, and draft a Daymar at 5. He was listed without shoes at 7'3", without shoes. 7'3" without shoes. Which means he's probably 7'4.5". Like, that's Wembanyama height. There and abouts. I think he has a 9'9" wingspan, something like that. Are you joking? Are you serious? Like, are we serious? So my thought process for taking Mara this high, when there are so many more incredible guys, is that you've just lost Zubac, who was your starting center. And I don't think a Yannick Niederhauser is stopping me personally, if I was in the GM's shoes, from not drafting a Daymar here. What I think the Clippers should do, if I was in control of the Clippers, like, I know I just said I would draft a Daymar, but if I was control, I would trade back this pick. Which other team's desperate to go up? The Nets? Cool, we'll take some more assets. We'll drop down a couple spots. The Kings will take a couple assets and we'll drop down a spot. But I've just lost Zubac. And I have the chance to get probably the best center in this draft, arguably, unless you count Caleb Wilson and Cam Boozer are more 4 or 5. So maybe the 3rd best center at worst, if you count those two as centers. I mean, what more do we have to say about Daymar except he's just like, we're going to throw the buzzword intersection of just all these wonderful modern big skills. He gives you basically everything on the floor except outside shooting, which he could develop. So, let's get weird and let's draft a Daymar at 5. I don't care. I don't care. Let me get back. With the 6th pick, the Brooklyn Nets. Now for me, the kind of PG one in this kind of gaggle of guards here is Michael Brown Jr. And I think, I think his draft stock is only going to improve throughout the combine. He's a true 6'5", I think. There was the video of him doing the height thing, and I think he's a true 6'5", so we've got visual proof now. And this is where I'm going to draft him. I think he's going to be one of the best guards in this draft, like the 2nd best, probably behind a Darren Peterson, and probably the best point guard in this draft. Like, pretty comfortably for me. He's just so, just exactly what you want from your point guard, a modern point guard. Great passer, will shoot everything that touches his hands if you ask him to. He's got size, he's got athleticism, he's not a slouch on defense. There are the concerns about the back, but if I'm the Brooklyn Nets and I don't have a lead guard, they tried the Jaeger Demon, we're just gonna say that, I know it's not the right way, shush, I apologize. He's not your lead, point guard. He gives you size, he gives you positional versatility, but he doesn't give you a true point guard, a true table setter, which Michael Brown Jr. is. And I think he's kind of just gone up and up and up, crept up on my draft boards, because I'm just like, wow, this guy is like incredible. Genuinely incredible. I understand the back concerns, but I think either way, he's still I think he might actually genuinely be PG1 in my draft. In my big board rankings, whatever. So number 7, the Sacramento Kings fell to 7. And I don't think we even have to talk about this, because I think we know who they're going to take if he's here, and they know who they're going to take if he's here, and my granddad probably knows who they're going to take if he's here, and it's Darius Akuff. They want that guy, and I think I'm slowly being converted on the Darius Akaf defensive liabilities train, because him and Kingston Fleming has a smaller wingspan than. Now, this is not a knock to Kingston Fleming, but Darius Akaf actually has quite a big wingspan. I think he listed in at about 6'1" without shoes, so 6'1.5". So he's probably a 6'3", and he's probably arguably the best scorer in this draft. Maybe probably the best scorer in this draft. I don't really like, considering what he had to do for Arkansas. And he's shifty and he's credible. He's got great 3-point shooting. I think it was like 43% at the end on like eight attempts, I think, when it ended. And pretty much had to, like I said, they had to backpack his team. So now he's gonna have to do it at the next level. And depending if they re-sign Russ, you have a good vet in the locker room for him. And it seems to me that the Kings have kind of had their sights set on him for a long time. So that's probably the easiest pick we'll have to do today. Maybe outside of the what's the team? The Bulls. There we go. The Bulls pick. It's the 8th pick. Now with a Damar off the board in most of my mocks recently, if you follow me over it on X, Leo NBA journalists, whatever. This is where I have a Damar coming off usually. But now a Damar is not coming off. The Damar is already gone, sorry. So the Hawks are kind of in need of a true center and a point guard. TJ McCollum's not really a point guard. Dyson Daniel's not really a point guard. So you kind of have this weird situation. You also don't have a true center because Onyeka Okongwu is 6'9". He's not really a shot blocking guy. Jock Landau's not your future center for the next 10 years when you want to compete with Jalen Johnson. You don't really have. So this is usually where Damar comes off the board. But seeing as they need the true point guard, let's fill one of the slots with still a lottery level talent in Kingston Flemings, who is arguably, I know we talked about how he has a smaller wingspan than Darius Akaf, but his IQ on both sides of the ball is just incredible. He's going to be able to set people up day one. He's going to be able to read NBA level offenses day one. I've seen him do film deep dives with Ben Pfeiffer, I think it was, or Ben Pfeiffer or Derek Clark. I think it was Ben Pfeiffer, and that was an incredible video. Incredible. So shout out to Ben. He's going to be able to run an NBA level offense pretty much from day one, in my opinion. And I don't see him getting switch hunted or the concerns we have with Akaf is that, eventually down the line and maybe in a playoff series is that a team's going to take advantage of him being smaller. But Kingston Flemings is arguably the same height, maybe a bit taller. I think he's just a bit taller. And his instincts on the defensive end keep him on the floor. Will keep him on the floor. 100%. And I think the Hawks here need a true point guard. He's not going to be the flashiest guy who's going to go on a 12-0 run for you. He's not that guy. He's going to hit timely shots. He's going to find you in good spots and try his ass off on defense. What more could you ask for? So at number 9 with Dallas Mavericks, there's an argument for all three of these guys. And very interesting situation here because, if had they gone any higher, they obviously take a one of the point guards that have just come off the board. They probably take a Michael Brown. They probably take I don't think they take a Darius Akaf, but they probably take a Kingston Flemings maybe. But I think if I know as a Mavericks front office human that, hey, we're getting Kyrie Irving back next season. I've got Cooper Flag. I've got good role player pieces. I'm sorry, I just bashed my desk. Sorry if you saw the screen shake. I got good, role player pieces from the Luka era. I'm going to go get someone who's going to be able to play, the 2 for me. And I know you're thinking, oh, Keaton Wagler then. No, I'm talking about Braden Burries. Who's a true 6'4", 6'5". I think he's true 6'4". I think he weighed in at 210, which is big for a young guard. We talk a lot about his, kind of Derek White comps, and I see it. He's a great transition playmaker. He's a great two guard. He's great at doing little things that help, either take the load off a person or contribute to winning. He's a winning player. He's the perfect guy you want next to your main guys, because basically what he showed at Arizona is some nights he's not the main guy, but some nights he is. So some nights he's being asked to defend the best player. Some nights he's being asked to hit shots and be the guy. So perfect guy you want next to Kyrie coming back, and the perfect guy who could lead a bench unit, because they probably go Kyrie, Max Christie, Flag, PJ Washington, Gafford Likely, someone that. And then you could go Kyrie, Braden Burries. And you have Braden Burries coming off the bench. And I think it just gives them, again, another facet of optionality, which is what we like. And he's kind of the blend between win now and develop. So, very interesting. Very interesting situation, because we've got one guy falling, and we've also got probably the most interesting situation in the NBA right now, which is Milwaukee Bucks. Now, are we operating in a world where Giannis is here? We are. But the Bucks usually like to draft weird. And if I'm in the control of the Bucks and Keaton Waggler's fallen, we have to take Keaton Waggler off the board now. He's just too good of a player. He has quite a small wingspan. I think people were expecting him to be quite a bit bigger. But you take advantage of the slide. You take him here. You're a perfect complementary guy to a Ryan Rollins. And, you develop him the right way with a Taylor Jenkins, who's your coach, who's known for developing. He took that young Grizzlies team to, was it the Western Conference semis against the Warriors? And had, battled with them. So, there's really not a perfect coach, I think, not a more perfect coach for him to kind of go into than Taylor Jenkins in this hypothetical world, blah, 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 you know what I'm talking about. But just like a very methodical scorer, he's got great footwork, he's slow, he knows his pace, he takes time, and I think that would work very well even if Giannis is staying. Because I don't think he's going to be a slouch on defense. You've got Ryan Rollins, who's a very good defender. You take some of the ease off of him by having, a very great shooter at the 2 next to Ryan Rollins. And then, I think what NBA teams will want to do is they'll want to try and develop him to a 1. I see the Tyrese Halliburton comps, and I understand them. And I think you just take advantage of the slide and you take best talent available, regardless of if Giannis is here or not. Now, at number 11, easiest pick for me, Yaxu Lendenborg. Get size, get rebounding, get motor, get athleticism, get a dog, all of that, because the Warriors like to be small and they like to be, I don't know why they just don't want to sign true centers anymore. And I'm into just let's build around Steph, please. One last time. This guy's giving everything for this franchise the whole time. And I'm a Lakers fan. And Steph Curry is one of the most incredible players I've ever laid my eyes on. Do him due diligence. Get him a win now guy, or trade this pick. We're not in this world, so get him a win now guy. Go sign some centers in the offseason. Build a roster around him that works. And I guarantee you, even if it's his last ride, you owe him that much. That's why you're taking Yaxu Lendenborg. He's going to be an automatic role player from day one. His 3-point shot's developing. He attacks the rim a lot. And on the defensive end, he's disciplined. He's a great weak side defender. And, 6'9" with lengthy arms and stuff. That never hurts on defense, And he gets to learn from one of the best, forwards of all time, defensive forwards of all time in Draymond Green. Best situation you could possibly be in. Now, the rich get richer here. And this just annoys me to look at when they have a lottery pick and they just spanked my Lakers. There's, I don't think they're going to lose Hartenstein in the offseason. But, you can never have enough big kind of centers to just soak up minutes who, the Thunder do this thing where they draft someone and they kind of don't really play their rookie year. Now, a lot of them are from injuries, but they essentially just get a year to develop in the OKC system. And I couldn't think of a better guy right now than Heinz Steinbeck, who actually might comp kind of well with an iHeart, but has a great shooting touch already at 6'11", and is arguably the best rebounder in this draft. For a team that already generates so many offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds, and you just get another versatile 6'11" power forward center to throw out there. Because why not? Why not? You know, the rich get richer. That's why I keep saying. And you've got Thomas Sorba coming back, who's kind of I think he's kind of a smaller center from memory. But I might be wrong. I honestly don't even remember. I don't remember the last time. I think I saw him dapping some of the Lakers players up. Anyways, the Heat are one of the most confusing teams in the entire world, and I kind of am fed up with them, if I'm just being honest, because I don't know what they want to do. They want to compete. There's no one really here that helps you compete. You have Tyler Hero. You have, you took Kasparas Yakashonas last year, and do they go with a swing like a Nate Ament, who could be a high upside guy, who I think he listed in at 6'10" without shoes, which is pretty insane, which means he's probably 6'11", maybe pushing 7 foot. With his skill set's pretty insane. But again, I think it's very Miami Heat to take advantage of the slide and take a higher talent at a lower pick. And they take LeBaron Philon, who is probably going to work really, really well next to, if Tyler Hero is still there, obviously, in this world, next to Tyler Hero, and can take over a game himself. He's a flamethrower. He gets the rim very well. He's very crafty, great pick and roll operator, and on defense, he's a bit of concerns, but you've got Bam Adebayo down there. You know what I mean? You've got a lot of these lengthy wings to kind of push in it. Defensive concerns, they're valid, but you've got enough there to stop it. You know what I'm trying to say? So yeah, I think that it's very Miami Heat to just take advantage of a slide, and similar to what they did with Kasparas Yakashonas, do the same with LeBaron Philon. That could probably be your backcourt. Kasparas Yakashonas is what, 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", and LeBaron Philon 6'4". That's a big backcourt in NBA. The NBA world. So, if you do eventually trade a Tyler Hero, there you go. You've just gotten rid of. You've just got your backcourt. Sorry. Now, with the 14th pick, the Charlotte Hornets, I think, are in easily the best position of all time. I wrote it down here. I said, get size and complementary skill sets. This team is ready to go. So, I could see anyone here. Pretty much any of these guys could really have it. For me, there's one guy who's my favorite person in the draft, a guy I really want to fall to my Lakers but won't, and it's Morez Johnson Jr., who probably is gonna rise the most purely just off of the combine. He's just a freak athletically. I've written down he's on offense he's a connector, he's efficient, he's very tough on both ends of the floor, which what did I say before? You need to get complementary skill sets, you need to get size. The team's ready, go get a win now guy who played winning basketball for Michigan, and this the perfect guy. Because if you have any concerns about Miles Bridges being, I don't think anyone in the Hornets organization thinks he's 28. In 3 years down the line, when hopefully we're competing for a championship, that Miles Bridges is going to be the starting power forward. If they do, that's kind of sad. Go get Morez Johnson Jr., athletic. The shot is developing. I think he shot 16 for 25 today from 3-point drill. I don't know. And I should know, so I apologize. But it's just going to be perfect. He's switchable on defense. He's versatile. Man, I just love him. He's probably my favorite. He's probably, I'll put my stamp on him. He's my guy from this draft. I love him. Wish he was on my Lakers. But he goes to the Hornets here. So this is kind of the rundown. We got AJ DeBanter at 1, Darren Peterson at 2, Cameron Boozer at 3, Caleb Wilson at 4, Ade Mara at 5, Mikael Brown Jr. at 6 to the Nets, Darius Akuff, 7 to the Kings. At 8, we've got Kingston Flemings to the Hawks. 9, Braden Burris to the Mavs. 10, Keaton Wagler slides a bit to the Bucks. Yaxel Lenneberg, 11 to the Warriors. Hans Steinbach, 12 to the OKC Thunder. 13, the Miami Heat get LeBaron Philon Jr. And at 14, to round out the lottery, Morez Johnson Jr. to the Charlotte Hornets. Thank you guys so much for watching this kind of return video. I've got another mock draft coming out. What time is it right now? It's 9:01. You guys can see that. And in a couple hours, we're going to be filming another mock draft. It's a great time to be alive. I love this. Go check out the TikTok NBA Generalist. Go check out the Twitter Leo NBA or NBA Generalist. And I love you all, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.